Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to explore a Blender beginner course in Softbody Physics where you will be able to create this animation with these jiggly gelatin-like cubes at the end. So let's get started. With my default cube selected, I'm going to go under Edit mode right here and I'm going to subdivide the cube about 5 times just to give it that detail. I'm going to go back under Object mode and I'm going to add a Softbody Physics property. Now, if I press play, it's just going to hover forever in the ether doing nothing. In order to fix that, we're going to uncheck goal. That will fix it, but it's unfortunately going to make the cube fall through the floor. In order to stop that, we must add a collision modifier. Now, under Softbody and Cloth, you should just increase the damping all the way to the maximum. Now, really quickly, this is going to make the cube stop at the floor, but we get this really weird kind of, imploding, and it just doesn't look right. And I'm also going to shade this cube smooth real quick. Now, what we want to do in order to make this a little bit more solid, yet still jiggly, is we want to increase the push and pull all the way to the maximum. So just drag those over to where they're completely maxed out. Now, if I press play just to show you a little bit of progress, we're not going to get anything really nice here. We're just going to get this sort of a deflation, which could be useful depending on what you're doing. But right here, what we want to do in order to start giving it a little bit of structure is we want to increase the bending. We only want to increase that a little bit. So I'm going to increase it to 0.03 just to show you. And it's definitely a lot stiffer, and you can see that it's, a little bit jiggly. Now, if we want it to be, more jiggly, you just have to decrease the bending. So let's try 0.003. It's definitely got a little bit more. Now, there is another control to give it some more stiffness without using the bending. You can use the bending, but you can also come down here to stiffness with it enabled, and it creates a similar effect. And under stiffness, you'll see it says shear. You can decrease this, and this gives you a little bit, just similar to bending. You can just decrease it to where you get a result that you want. You have to fine tune it a little bit. It depends on what you're going for. It's pretty jiggly. Now, I'm going to increase this to about, I'd say 0.5, and I'm going to enable self collision. And I'm also going to do collision on face and edge. And this is going to increase the processing time for this particular simulation. You'll notice that the FPS up here is definitely going slower, and we're getting a light jiggle. It just depends on what you want. I'm going to keep it like that today, but you can just tweak them, to where you want. If you want to uncheck stiffness and go back to bending, you can do 0.0003. Oh, yeah, that didn't even show up. Let's see what happens. It doesn't even give you the value. But it definitely still jiggles in a really weird way. Let's see how that looks on the playback. Yeah. So let's go back to 0.003, just like that. Triple check it. You can still see it has to process because we've done the self collision and edge and face. I like that. That's a little bit more jiggly. That's a bit more ideal. So let's say you want a bunch of them. You want like just a dozen or so of these cubes, and you want them to fall into each other. Right away, let's duplicate this cube and just raise it above, and we'll rotate it just a little bit randomly like this. We'll raise it up a little bit higher. Now, if we play, you'll notice if I select this and I select this, you'll see they both have softbody enabled. So when we duplicated, we did copy the softbody data and all of our changes. So if I play them though, you'll see what happens. It's going to take a little bit of time. It's definitely slower FPS on this, but they're going to fall into each other. They're going to hit the floor, but they're just going to fall right through each other. And that's obviously terrible. So in order to fix this, we're going to add collision modifiers to each of these cubes. So right away with this cube selected, we will add a collision modifier, and we really want to, just like we did with the plane, with the floor, we want to increase the damping. And also with this one, we must add a collision and we must increase the damping. They both must have collision modifiers in order for this to work. Now, if I press play once again, it's definitely, and because we added the collision, it's slowing down everything even more. It's almost there. Now you can kind of see where it's going through it just a tiny bit right here, but they are responding. They are definitely responding. So let's pause, back it up just to see what it looks like. Get a little bit of a different viewport view. All right. Yeah, they're definitely touching. They're definitely touching, and they're definitely working. So sometimes you have to tweak the overall settings. It just depends on what you're trying to do and how you're trying to do it. But let's add several more of these. Let's just create a little bit more of the cubes to get them to fall into each other. Randomly rotate some of these. You can duplicate them. It's totally fine. You can select several of them and duplicate them again. Rotate several of them all at once. I want those to be a little higher. And I do want them to be a little different. Before I started this, before I started the recording, I did go into cycles under GPU and enabled the noise, and I have my samples under the viewpoint really low, but I created this little environment really quick, just to show you. For the floor, I did a magic texture with a depth of 5. I did a mapping and texture coordinate node with the object connected to the vector. I increased the scale just to about 28.2, and I added this light red color and this light green color. I just thought they looked nice. And for the cubes, they're pretty simple. I just have the transmission cranked to all the way to 1 and the roughness to 0.103. And I'm going to change just some of these cubes because I just want them to be different colors. I just think that would look nicer. So I'm going to just give this, I think, a nice blue. Still going to have them all be maxed transmission and of varying roughness. I just want them to, have the same sort of transparency, if you will, but I do want them to have different colors. So I just think that looks nice. So yeah, we'll do that one about a yellow. Crank that transmission, lower the roughness. Just choose whichever ones you think, work best for you. You don't have to do any of this at all. This is just, I think, what looks nice. So yeah, let's get that. Oh, that'll be a nice color. Yeah. Transmission. Now, if we go back and we check all of the physics, when I duplicated the cube, all of the physics data has been copied, regardless of which one I'm choosing. So now, if I hit 0 and I go back into cube mode, I can just take a quick play. It's definitely going to be a bit of a longer playthrough right here. In fact, I did not expect that to be that long, so what I will just do is go under soft body, go under cache, and I'm going to change the end frame to 100. I'm going to bake all dynamics. And it's going to take a moment. All right, baking is done. Let's see how it looks. Press play. All right. Now, I think it looks a little silly sometimes when you're looking at things from this particular viewport, but overall it looks pretty good. That's just a general exploration of Softbody right there, and I think it turned out pretty good. They're a little bit like, gelatinous, jiggly, dippy. So yeah, anyway, if you learned something, comment down below and leave me a like and subscribe, and yeah, have a good day. Take it easy out there.